weekly shout out. I'm going to do something a little bit different this week for acknowledging everyone and letting everyone know what's happening in finance and IT. My friend Garrett Olson over at Fire Department shared with me something he's been doing for a number of years, which is doing it in person and doing it online. And so he's found it's a way to let everyone know what's happening in the department, what's going on in the city, so I can share with you some of the exciting things that are happening. So just by way of, as we get started today, a quick shout out to Tracy. She's now been with the city here 9 years, and she continues to show her value to the city. She stepped up this week when Lori was out sick and finished up payroll, which is always exciting. Want to make sure that the 400 plus employees here get paid. I think that's something we all expect every couple of weeks, and so I want to thank Tracy, and also want to acknowledge that Lori did come in to help out even though she wasn't feeling that great. Unfortunately, she was able to head back home and take care of herself. Also, some other cross trainings happening. Lorraine is working with Barbara and on training in accounts payable. She'll be stepping in. You'll be seeing her sitting over at Barbara's desk over the next couple of weeks, learning accounts payable and making sure we've got backup in that area, because we have a large volume of contracts and purchase orders moving through these days, and we may want to make sure everything's in order. Speaking of everything that's ordered, we've been reviewing all of our contracts to make sure that all of our insurance certificates are in order. We have all the paperwork, doing a lot of catch up on that front. So I want to do a special shout out to Teresa and everyone else who's been working on that piece. A little news on the budget manager. We had a successful round of interviews the last couple weeks, and proud to announce internally, we haven't announced this outside, is Xenia Bradford will be beginning on October 26th as the city's new budget manager. She went through a rigorous process, interviewing both with finance and IT staff, interviewing with some department heads, with the city manager. She met with admin analysts, did an exercise. We're really excited to have Xenia come on board. She comes to us with a high degree of education and experience, and we're excited to see her come in. Ryan has agreed to continue on as the budget manager and kind of be her buddy as we work through the mid-year report and work on the supplemental budget. And so huge kudos to Ryan. He's done some great work this last week getting a draft schedule put together for the mid-year and supplemental budget, and he's already started some work on that, and you'll be hearing a little bit about that. He's meeting with the analysts sometime next week. Also, just speaking of next week, the Government and Finance Officers Association, GFOA, will be kicking off their meetings with the city. They have 4 of their senior staff that'll be coming out here on Tuesday to meet with IT, with finance staff, with department heads, with various different stakeholders that all have an interest and care in making sure that the finance department is running as efficient, as effectively as possible. The transition team met this last week. I think there's overall just excitement about the resources that they're going to come and bring to the table, and I know that people have really been awaiting their arrival, and I want to just acknowledge that all the hard work that's being done to create the space for you to meaningfully engage with GFOA, and I do think that this is going to pay off in the end, and ultimately, I think help us with the tactical decisions about the right systems we need to have and the right structure so that we can continue to provide the top quality services that the community wants. Speaking about some other progress, Vilma finished up some trial balances this week. We'll be shipping those off as soon as they get finalized next week over to our consultant who's working on our annual development impact fee report. She had to finish up some trial balances for transportation and for the water and wastewater funds. And we're also going to be taking a look at the loans that were made out of the Park Impact Fee funds out of Margarita to help fund the initial stages of Prado Road. We want to make sure that that's all accounted for in the annual report that will go to the council, and that's scheduled to go the second meeting in December. Do want to also just talk about our candidates and folks that are participating in the Leadership Lab and Supervising Academy. We had Lynn, Nick, Eric, and Lynn Covey spend some time away from us, and 4 days in the last couple of weeks. I've heard nothing but just great feedback about the skills that they're developing and the experiences that they're having with some top quality folks from other departments. I would really encourage you, if you're interested in Supervisor Academy or Leadership Lab, to talk to them. I can tell you from my experience in participating in these types of programs that they are just really a catalyst for accelerating your skills and abilities and making you a better employee, whether you are happy with where you are or if you're excited to move on to another phase in your career. This really is a way for you to think about improving those skills and really building bonds with other people outside the department. So also want to talk a little bit about some work on the IT side. They've ran into a few challenges with some of our radio systems. I know that the whole IT team is working on making some corrections there, and they actually finished some splicing work this last week with Cal Poly, and I think they were able to negotiate both some redundant connections and some additional connections. I'll add some details to the video to show you what those are. But it's amazing to see what our team does here. I think we're kind of at the front edge of some of the the IT work that we're doing for the city. This has now, I think, been my fourth week down here in the finance and IT department. I continually am impressed with the caliber and quality of work. The level of dedication that people have to the city organization just continues to impress me. I hear nothing but great feedback from my colleagues, and more than anything, what's really hardens me is that the enthusiasm about what the promise for tomorrow and what we can do. Kind of looking ahead to fun things, I know that Marjorie has scheduled some time in next week, I believe it is, for the pumpkin carving contest. That'll be pretty exciting to see how that unfolds. We've got some food events lined up in November for Thanksgiving. And if you have any questions about with Marjorie, I'm thinking about her in terms of what's going on in utility billing. I know she's keeping track of that. I think she went down this last week down to I think it was down to the Tustin area to go to a Springbrook training. She spent some time down there with Cheryl from Utilities. I'm hearing about some exciting progress about making some changes, some not only system changes, but some process changes to deal with some of the lingering issues that have affected us in terms of delinquent accounts and some of the payments and reconciliations that are occurring. Speaking of reconciliations, Lisa and Lynn wrapped up all of the reconciliations for the 2014-2015 fiscal year. This is a great step in actually closing our books. I think the last step is finalizing our fixed assets in Finance Plus. And now, once that is done, the auditor is going to be here the first week in November. They moved back just a week, and they were able to accommodate us, yet still keep on schedule so that we can post the CAFR online by the December 31st deadline, and then get that into GFOA for our award. So I just want to thank again everyone for the work that you're doing, and my door is always open. I hope you'll stop by and say hi. I'll be around all next week, tied up most of Tuesday and with GFOA, but I'll keep you posted as things unfold.